So we've all been into different places where you find things happen the way that you're not used to them happening. Like people live the way you're not used to them living. So culture shock is the theme behind our podcast today. This is Chat at podcast_24M, and my name is Pretty.
And I am Doki.
And I am Judy.
So talking of culture shocks, these are differences differences in lifestyle where you find your lifestyle is not the same as this person's lifestyle. It could be the context of linguistics, it could be the context of religion, it could be the context of academic wise, a different context on culture shocks. So when we came into campus, the lifestyle in high school is not the same as the lifestyle in campus. In high school you're used to living in cubes. Tunakuja campus you have to live in hostels. They are the same cubes but different names. So but unasema hostel, unasema cube ukiwa campus, that seems to be so odd. And culture shock is the theme of today once again. Yes. So Doki, ulikuja campus. Ulikuwa unajua home Sunday I have to wake up early in the morning, niambie you have to go to church. But here in campus, going to church is my own decision. So
I feel like what I used to think that like what I saw in movies was not in reality. Let me tell you, it is like some of the things out here that are being displayed on TVs, in movies, in news, they're just the reality of how things are happening. So I used to think that me seeing people fight for a man is just like a movie thing. But not until I went to a place and I saw people fighting for a man, I'm like, okay, I didn't know this was there. I didn't know this is something that people do, especially like for beautiful ladies. I didn't expect that from them.
Okay, I used to think that these operas like love thing iko hivyo. So I was thinking that nikipata my Romeo I'll be his Juliet. But vitu kwa ground ni different. You see? Tulikuwa tumezoea like unapewa gifts, sijui nini, sai ni kugumu jamani.
Sasa like hata mimi personally when I was in high school, I used to know that people have to be dressing decently. Not until I came in campus, my friend. You see person indecently dressed, but there's nothing you can say because this is how this person was raised, or this is the lifestyle that this person chose. So those are some of the things that actually scared me. You don't have to be calling everybody's prostitutes, everybody whores, because this is a lifestyle that I am used to living.
And I think like this is something that we tend to believe that is not happening, but it's all about what school didn't teach us at some point. I feel like it is in that aspect of life.
Okay, even out here nilikuja kurealize that we have a lot of freedom, whereby so like the way you said that Sunday tulikuwa tunajua it is mandatory that we go to church. Now even on weekends, so it was rare tulikuwa tumezoea kwenda kesha, but nowadays on weekends Friday unapata tu kwa parties, wako tu sherehe. I think it seemed awkward at first, but now sasa imeshazoea, like you see people going out here and there.
I remember one day Doki was telling me that she was talking to someone in the hostels, and the roommates were like, "Are you talking in English?" So that's also a culture shock, because people are like, how is this person even talking in English, talking in a phone call in English? Like these people are not having that exposure that people have to be talking in English. They have not yet normalized that people do talk in English and they have to talk in English. So that's also a culture shock. And anyways, that aside, so Doki said that school did not teach us everything. The only thing that school taught us is solving your mathematical problems, working hard and etc. But some things that you have to cope with, school did not teach you.
A lot of things,
especially lifestyle things. School did not teach us.
I think sometimes, okay, I know like the curriculum has a lot, you have a lot to cover, but I feel like when I joined primary school, I found when we had a lesson called life skills. And as like I don't know, I don't think that it still exists, because you'll find that maybe like tukifika hapo class 7 class 8, that is where you find that your CRE teacher ama your social studies teacher is the same teacher who is going to teach you life skill. And they will take that lesson now to teach their subject.
Yeah.
I feel like that if that was to be taken very seriously, it's a very good subject to be involved in school. But I feel like it should be given to a person who is teaching nothing else, only life skill. Because tell me why mwalimu wa CRE atakuja kufunza life skill na kufunza CRE doesn't totally make sense. Because we coming out of schools and finding another new world. A world that we in school it's like we are in a magical world, where in a fantasy world where you think all things will be like
fairy tales.
Yeah. But again we are coming into a new world. Yeah. So that is why I normally say that coming out of school, you think that you've started life, and then when you come to college, you've not yet started life. You start it over again. And I feel like even after we are done with colleges and campuses, at the end of the day, going again to look for jobs and starting family and whatever, it's again starting another new beginning of life. So every time you're beginning another new phase of life, because you don't have an idea of what life has to offer out there.
And that's where we as human beings fail. Because everybody, like I'd say in every African home, the family believes that umezaliwa, ukaenda playgroup, ukaingia primary, ukaingia high school, ukaingia campus, you have to get a boyfriend, ukaingia courtship, ukaingia marriage, tena uzae, then your kid goes through the same process. So hawajajua that there are some aspects of life where so many people do not get interacted to. Like unapata sikujua people do get pregnant. Nakuja campus najua people do get pregnant. My parents did not tell me that when you sleep with a man you're going to get pregnant. Unafika campus, somebody has already normalized it. I have 3 kids and I'm comfortable. I have 5 kids and I'm comfortable. You're like, at your age, at 19, already with 3 kids. No, that's so scary. So I guess
another culture shock. I don't know if it's a culture shock, but I didn't grow in an environment where I feel like I can be comfortable doing some things with my dad. I grew up in a traditional home setup where like there's that boundary between your dad.
Even you can't laugh with your dad.
In our homestead you cannot even pass by when my dad is around with a towel, like umefunga towel hapa, you can't do that. And I'm going out here and I'm seeing on TikTok, hey, okay, I saw another video where a lady is not properly dressed, and then she goes ahead and sits on her dad's lap. So I'm like, okay. People do that, because I'm sure I cannot do that to my dad.
Even I saw another girl kissing his father.
Yeah.
And people are like,
I don't
even hugging your father. You know, in my family, just my father, it's only handshake only.
Me too.
I see people hugging their fathers. I'm like kissing, like
okay. This is very very surprising. Yeah, me too. I feel that is how I've grown up to be. But I feel in some way it is the right way, because I think nowadays we are taking it too far. Even if it is that there's somebody who was preaching somewhere, and she was a lady, she said that there's a difference between you being a parent. I know a parent doesn't mean that you have being a parent doesn't mean you have to be that friend of too friendly to your daughter, to your son. You have to show them that there is a respect boundary, and you cannot cross that line. And that doesn't mean that you're not friendly with your son or daughter. But I think nowadays people are taking it extreme in some extent, and some relationship out here between a father and a daughter, they're extreme in some way.
And me actually I'm usually happy in how many African parents have raised their kids. And if I give you a challenge right now, when last did you tell your father that daddy I love you? When last?
I can't remember.
When last did you call your dad and told him that daddy I've missed you? You can't even remember.
Maybe last year.
You can't even remember, because I guess that's a good upbringing, because sometimes unapata this is a daughter, the daughter is already blossoming, and she is so free with the dad. to the extent unapata ati my mom has traveled, then I have to sleep in my dad's bedroom.
Yeah.
Why do that?
That is
That's why most parents fail because una normalize that I have to give my daughter a princess treatment. I have to give my daughter that leeway of her having that access to me.
father.
But anyways,
because I don't know even why sometimes I can see some like in some way like custody is being now taken by their dads. I don't know how, because like you have daughters and you're taking care of them like a dad. Okay, it's kind of funny because like in our culture we believe that if your dad and mother goes in separate in like they go through some separation or breaking up, ama your mother dies unfortunately, you are going to be taken care by your shosho, not
or
your
your
dad.
aunt.
How can you, because there's that age of teenagehood where like your daughter is blossoming up, like she said, and that is the age that you don't have to be that close to that because he's a man, remember.
Because remember, you can't tell this man that, Dad, I'm on my periods. What reaction will he get? So you'll be just atakuwa like anataka kujua mbona unanyesha like
I remember I was telling you a certain story when you were talking about rape. I don't know if you can remember. There was this South African lady who was talking about her experience on rape.
Yeah.
So the dad used to be sleeping with her. And the lady was like, okay, so now you have talked about custody. So the father had took the custody of that child, and he was living with the girl in his house, and he had another wife. Aside from the mother, so the dad had remarried. So the lady was living with the father, and the father was like sleeping with her, and she was comfortable. At her mindset, she did not know that this was wrong.
She thought it was
she knew
normal.
that it was normal. My dad is sleeping with me, then it's normal. So I guess that's also a culture shock, because maybe in some cultures these things do happen, but I don't know.
I think so. Because even in a traditional setup culture, now the culture itself, I feel like there is a lot of shocks. I don't know where it's taboo thing. I thought it was also something that we were just learning for fun. I didn't think like taboo is something that is going to be applicable in life. Because I've experienced in cases where I felt like a lady somewhere I knew of, like alikuwa just because they didn't kutoa mahari. So
they didn't give the dowry.
They didn't give the dowry the way they were supposed to. Imagine she couldn't pay her kids. Every time that like she would carry those kids, around 3 kids, she would carry those kids up to the 9 month, alafu anazaa vizuri. But around that 1 year, before the baby afike 1 year, like the baby dies.
And
until when like they remembered what they did not do and went back to that to the ladies. Unajua kuna this fight between Christianity and our culture, where Christians believe that because they are Christian, we cannot go and remove we cannot go and offer what do you call alcohol as a dowry. Yet in our culture, personally in Kikuyu culture, that is a must. You should go. There is that process of you going to take a beer to the ladies' homestead. So they didn't, because they are Christians, and they think that because we are Christians, we cannot do that. Imagine, hey, it was a shock for 3 kids until they went and took that beer to the homestead of that woman. It is when that lady like alizaa mtoto.
Well,
Yeah, I was like, okay, so these things exist. Yeah,
they do exist.
They do.
Hey, that is really scary.
Yeah.
So you men outside there must be paying dowry to your wives. You don't have to take a woman at come stay and you're like comfortable with the lady. Someone's daughter in your house at come stay and you haven't paid the dowry.
Yeah.
Tuwako atakuwa barren, bibi yako atakuwa barren, you don't know. Anyways. Well, okay. So talking of culture shock. Let me ask you too, what happens if maybe you get a chance to go to which country, let's say Russia, and are you people going to survive in those countries, in that country, I mean in Russia?
Yeah.
Why and how?
you just be flexible enough to cope with whatever they're doing. You know, even the Bible says when you go to the Romans, live
Yes.
like the Romans.
Have you ever got into a disagreement with a person because you maybe did not do what the Romans do?
Yeah. Oh, okay. Nah, I don't think I've gone into that conflict of nah.
You haven't.
Yeah,
Not yet.
not yet.
Okay. Me, I have several times I've been in. Unajua at home, mimi as you all know, I have that relationship with my mom and everyone at home. So I went to my uncle's place, and my uncle was like, he's a lion, and he doesn't want that stupidity and etc and etc. So I'm like, uncle, you do this, uncle, you do tufanye, and the uncle was like, okay, do I look like your brother? So it becomes a challenge sometimes ukisema that you haven't been into a place where you did not get into a conflict with someone because of these culture shocks, where culture is a way of people
I've adapted to live.
Yeah.
Oh, okay, I've remembered.
Yeah, I've also remembered that.
Okay, I got into a fight with my grandma because of my dressing code.
Really?
Yeah, so see, we are tuko Shago, so they were like, when you are town, so unavaa uchi, wewe sasa unakaa tu vibaya, unakaa, let's say, malaya.
Walai.
Because they were just judging me how the way I dress, but they don't really know who I am.
Wow.
Yeah.
That is so difficult. I've met a culture shock with somebody, but they have conflicted with somebody because they are like the person was a Muslim, and so now the conflict was, how can you go with water in the toilet that you're going to the toilet and washing your back after peeing? I was like, no, I cannot do that.
You can't
I cannot
do
do that. And I also remember I once dated somebody, and he was a Kalenjin. He was a Kalenjin, and we got into a conflict where I asked him, how do you name your kids? Because us, we believe that we name after our parents. Like for example, my mom is called Wangoi. If in case I get two girls, I would name one of the girls Wangoi. And so it was like we name according to time, like
Time.
time. And then there's that part of sijui key Kipyegon. So SG keys put, I don't know. I was like, hey, wait a minute. So even if I get 4 kids, they will all of them will be named after how your culture does, not our culture. That is a selfish culture. I was like,
imagine that it's reality, by the way. It's not a selfish culture. Because if he decided to also tell you that yours is a selfish culture.
Yeah.
Because kwani will your mother's name be in your lineage kila mahali? Sasa what if he also decides to tell you that yours is a selfish?
No, it is not. Ours is not. It is like this. Once I get the first kid, who is a girl, she will be named after my husband's mother. You get me? No, the second girl will be named after my mom. Yeah. Very simple, very fair. And actually it is favorable to the man, because if you get 3 kids, you go back now to the husband's sister. Yeah.
Even if it's 3 kids, the father. So like for example, it's a boy, 2 boys, one will be moja ni wa baba, mwingine wa mama.
I feel like my culture is very fair.
So I guess it's different because I guess my culture also aligns with the same. But it's a bit different because in our culture, the kids, the third name must be the father's name from your father's side. But your second name, you're going to be named according to the season you were born. Be it at night, be it maybe rainy season, be it season ya jua, you're going to be named according to that season. So jina yako ya pili wejua itakuwa tu anyway, si ati ni guarantee it must be your mom's or it must be your dad's.
So,
but ya mwisho it's a must. It must be from your dad's
I think
lineage.
that's fair.
Jina ya tatu.
But I think it's fair because that name is from your dad's. It's quite fair.
So, but sasa yo ya pili ni just any name, and that's why utafind many Luos, I'd say, have 2 English names.
Yeah.
2 English names. That is why.
Okay.
So
nice.
that is it.
So would you do you guys in future would you get married to somebody who is of a different culture?
I do. Yes. I'm not thinking of marrying from my culture.
Why?
Even do I want exploration. I'm not thinking of
And which
marrying.
culture would umeiweka kando? Because I cannot get married to that culture.
I'll not say that because
Really?
that is tribalism.
Wow.
So
What about you,
I'll not say
Judy?
that.
There's some cultures.
Which one?
Wakisi. Aki Kisi na Kale. Aki those two. But I prefer Luos.
I prefer Luos.
Yeah.
Imagine I grew up saying that I don't want to get married to somebody who's not of our culture. But like as I have,
As you're growing.
yeah, just like our former guest said that you start by being a fool and then you become wise. So I started by being a fool by saying I can't get married to somebody of a different culture. But as I'm growing, I feel like I can also give a leeway of exploration. Yeah.
It's a good
As long
thing,
as you
by the
have
way.
an agreement between you two, at kama it is the naming, you can just do that way. I feel yours is more comfortable. Where you name, you give a kid 2 English names, and then that name it is their surname. Very simple and clear. Yeah.
Okay. But hapo kwa kumari kidogo you have to check. But I remember you once said that you cannot date a Luo.
Yeah.
Can you remember that?
That is why I say that is why, because I don't know. We don't know which lyrics tutacheza kwa hiyo wedding yangu, because I don't know sasa if one day
Now
I
you
get
had already planned your wedding
Aki,
song.
my wedding song sikuwa nishazilis bana. Kikuyu songs. But itabidi if one day I get married to somebody who is not of my culture, I don't know how we'll do it on that
You just
wedding
go
day,
with
Aki.
it.
I guess it's a
Because
matter.
it's
It's a matter
Hey.
of age and mutual
Yeah.
understanding. After me growing up, I used to say that I can never date a person from a Kisii and Central. I cannot do that. But I once dated a Kisii man and he was actually a very good man. I can't lie. So that's why when you asked me which culture or which linguistic group
Yeah.
I can't marry from, I won't say that because that's
Yeah.
really tribalism.
Yeah.
And we are fighting against tribalism because it has brought more harm than good. But anyways, we are discussing about culture shock.
Yeah.
We have all explained what we have experienced in the verge or in the scope of culture shock. I know some are hidden. Of course, you won't be comfortable saying on the screens. But you as your viewers, you as our viewers, what do you think are some of the culture shocks that you had gone through and felt like this culture shock is very offensive to me because it's maybe not as per what I want. Unajua sometimes tunatakanga vitu ziende as per what we want, not as per what you people want.
Yeah.
But that is it. So keep on liking, sharing and subscribing and tell us what you think. Very kudos. Because she has been one of our active viewers.
Yeah.
I just mentioned, and our class of 2024M, we actually appreciate you so much for the much support you've been giving us. Thank you so much, Brice Kevin. We are seeing you from wherever you are. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.